views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Welcome to Music for Life with Judith Pinkerton, a board-certified music therapist. Judith will guide you on a journey seeking balance in your complex world using Music for Life formulas that stretch your mind to wrap around leading-edge discoveries using the arts for healing. Judith will explore inner rhythms which may create peace or war, guiding your journey toward positive change, recommending creative resources with today's special guest. Learn how to modulate moods to reduce unsettledness, how to increase relaxation or energy, and how to transform life conditions. And now, here's Judith.
Welcome to Music for Life, where we are here to help you enhance your life through the use of music, special music, like music we're going to be featuring today, because we've all experienced our music when you go home, take your shoes off, put your feet up and turn on your favorite music. It's closing your eyes and it's as if you've been transported. We'll learn more today about that specific music we're going to feature and how it may affect our health. We have a special guest with us today from Houston, Texas. Shari Goins is president of Editing Creations and is making the news as an experienced audio and video editor, screenwriter, director, and cinematographer. One of her favorite quotes comes from Alfred Hitchcock, who says that drama is life without the dull bits, or drama is life with the dull bits cut out. Let's find out why Shari connects with that quote, what generation she actually comes from, and why Metallica is her favorite band no matter what mood she's in. But first, let's hear a message from one of our sponsors. And back to Music for Life. We provide drum circles at Music for Life here in Southern Nevada. So on third Thursdays and third Saturdays, we have happy hour drumming for adults only at 6 o'clock on third Thursdays, where there's lots of happiness, no margaritas, but lots of happiness. And Family Drum Circle is on Saturdays, the third Saturday of the month at 2:30, where any age is welcome. And we provide all the drums courtesy the Remo Drum Company, the largest drum specialist in the world. We have a special guest with us today. Shari Goins has been editing movies for 8 years now. She transitioned to editing from acting in high school after realizing that movies have a larger impact to larger audiences. She immediately fell in love with the use of logic and art where it's required in editing, and she's never looked back. She received her bachelor's in arts in moving image arts from the College of Santa Fe, now called the Santa Fe University of Art and Design in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and specializing in video editing. After experiencing both Fox Sports and the USPTA, that's the Tennis Association, she was accredited by the Better Business Bureau, edited a history TV show for an international audience, and then won the Best Short at the Gulf Coast Film and Video Festival for the short movie called Unfortunate, and is now editing a feature film for national release. Shari actually does a lot of different kinds of editing, including commercials, TV, short and feature-length films and videos, even weddings, house tours, churches, infomercials, even funerals, depositions in the legal profession, documentaries, and professional reels. So, Shari, I welcome you to the show. We want to find out why you connect with drama is life with the dull bits cut out.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. And yes, I think that that's a very accurate quote, because who doesn't wish that they could fast forward through the boring parts of their life and get right to the good stuff?
So it's interesting how you've got that quote actually on your website, where that's what you look for is creating an exciting piece that interests people and makes them want to view the video, where, you know, the drama is there with all the dull bits being cut out. As we kind of move through also your special featured music today, we're going to be connecting how you prefer your music and how that really winds and weaves through your life. And before we get into some of that music, I found an interesting piece from Chuck Underwood, who is the founder of the Generational Imperative, and he actually identifies America's 5 living generations. And just out of curiosity, as we go through this, I just want to identify all 5 real quick, and then I want you to share with me, you know, which one you're actually from and which one you may identify with more, or what that's like for you. So when we go way back to 1901, they're called the GI generation, according to Chuck Underwood. And that's anybody that's born between 1901 and 1926. And they're very community-minded and patriotic, and they're referred to as the action generation way back then. And then after that came the silence, born from 1927 to 1945, where they're looked at as the rights generation. After that, we know about the baby boomers, the boomers being born from 1946 to 1964. And that generation is all about values. The generation after that is Generation X, born from 1965 to 1981. And their generation is all about survival. And then we have the millennials, which is the current, born 1982 to the present, where it's a sharp departure from Generation X. And again, they're all about action. So when you look at these 5 different generations, obviously you're not going to be the GI generation or the silence or the boomers, but now we're looking at Generation X and the millennials. Which one do you actually fall into, Shari?
I actually would be considered a millennial since I was born after 82.
Okay. So just so that I can read this to see whether you really identify with what is stated here by Chuck Underwood as the description for millennials. It's called America's Next Great Generation, which is a sharp departure from Generation X. Millennials are optimistic, idealistic, patriotic, and over-parented. They revere the wisdom of elders, they're team players, and they're redefining life in their 20s and not necessarily being loyal to employers yet, that they delay marriage and parenting. They're considered the 9/11 generation. They become the excellent career generation, with the economic recession creating a needed reality check to possible unrealistic career expectations. And so you are now being called to be action, which is interesting because the GI generation, way back at the turn of the century, 100 years ago, was also called the action generation. So I find that fascinating. Do you identify with millennials?
Actually, when you read that definition, yes, it does sound very similar to where it could describe me very well.
Okay. So I know that we were talking a little bit earlier before the show started about identifying with maybe other generations even more. As we find ourselves having to deal with all generations, is there a generation that you find more connected to?
Yes, I seem to get along well with the baby boomers and with people in their 40s or, 40s. Generally, I get along with people in their 40s. And I think part of that also might be a little generational, because a lot of millennials, we look at the different problems in our society today. And, you know, we know what happened in the 60s. We've, read our textbooks. And so we can really understand what exactly that movement was about and what it is they were trying to do. And if anything, we have a little bit of disappointment that it didn't turn out differently, because a lot of people worked very hard for some very major changes, and we're right on the cusp of changing a lot of things, and then the whole movement seems to die down. And so I think a lot of millennials have some respect for the baby boomer generations and for those previous activists.
So I'm going to have us play one of your pieces of music right now because I want to relate it to what we're talking about. Let's hear this first piece of music and see if our listeners can name that tune. So as we listened to this piece of music, there was a very, very, very long instrumental intro where the first part was very low and you had to listen carefully as to what was going on, and then all of a sudden this beat was in your face and very repetitive and just built this anticipation for, is this going to be repetitive like this, or are the words finally going to come in, or when is it shift? And so as you listen to Some Kind of Monster by Metallica, you know, when do you want to listen to this, Shari?
I enjoy the music. I enjoy this song immediately. I enjoy the opening riff. The opening riff itself seems very grounding to me and really kind of centers me. And it's that repetitiveness that I think I find grounding.
Wow. Okay, so then when you look at the actual lyric where, you know, Metallica is singing, these are the eyes that can't see me, these are the hands that drop your trust, these are the boots that kick you round, this is the tongue that speaks on the inside, these are the ears that ring with hate, this is the face that'll never change, this is the fist that grinds you down, this is the voice of silence no more. And then it keeps going on about legs and beating and lips and, you know, on and on and on and on. So how do you identify with those lyrics?
The lyrics that I find most, that I can relate to the most would definitely be the part about this is the voice of silence no more. And I think that is a very large symbol as far as, you know, I've had it. I'm not going to take any more. This is me standing up for myself, for what I believe in. You know, this is me standing up for something. This is where this is that point where I draw that line in the sand that I will not cross. This is my line.
Interesting. So as I look at how you identify with this song, and I hear the words that you said earlier about the generation that you identify with, I noticed that there was a connection about being frustrated or being very concerned about, you know, where we've come now, and just being very frustrated with that. Would you describe it that way?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say that this song definitely speaks to people's frustration over different things, and I don't think the song actually ever says what exactly he's frustrated about, other than maybe some sort of abuse or something. But yeah, I would say that this would definitely speak to people being frustrated about something and wanting to, you know, stand up for themselves and actually enact that change. This song seems to be a call to action to me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to shift in yet to another Metallica song, which I've actually used a lot with clients. And let's see if we can name that tune as we hear Metallica again, yet with a different perspective.
Reaching out for something you got to feel. Or clutching to what you thought was real. Kicking at it dead on, pleasing you. No way of showing your gratitude. So many things you don't want to do.
So this particular song, Struggle Within, is really looking at, you know, what's happening inside of me that I'm having to struggle with, and how the lyric also matches that kind of sense. I'm sure that you know this song well. Shari, do you choose to push play on this one too?
Yes. I listen to basically all Metallica most of the time. There's an AOL radio has a all Metallica radio station that I listen to, and they play all Metallica songs.
Okay, so for our listeners in the Music for Life health system, Metallica's music all belongs in that unsettled category because it's really validating unsettled emotions like anger or anxiety, possibly depression or grief, depending on the mood of the music and the lyric that matches that mood. And so what I'm finding here is that when someone is in an unsettled state, that sometimes we choose instinctively to push play on music that validates and matches where we're at, and that through that we can have possibly a little bit of a catharsis just because we're being validated that the music is speaking to those strong primal concerns or challenges or needs that we have. Does that sound right for you, Shari, or do you have a different take on it?
Yeah, I definitely think that could definitely be the case.
Okay.
You know, it helps. You know, if you're angry and you listen to a song about being angry, it obviously makes you feel more validated, and you know, makes you feel that it's okay to be angry. And you know, sometimes whenever you're in a bad mood, you just want to give into it, and you just let you just give you know it's not healthy, and you know it's not, you don't want to give into it for too long, but you're just like, okay, well, I have to like validate this emotion. I'm just going to let myself like wallow in self-pity for just 30 seconds or just a minute, you know, just to get it out of my system. I'm just going to give myself the permission to do that, and then I can move on.
Okay.
And I think that Metallica and those other type of emotionally based songs like that can definitely help with those type of situations.
And Metallica really grew out of the Generation X generation, where that generation was all about survival. So I find it very interesting, you know, how their music maybe relates to the overarching theme of Generation Xers. When you were called to work on the film called Unfortunate, and I have to, for our listeners, I'm going to spell it so that you can visualize how it's different than unfortunate. It's UN.FORTUNE.NET. So Unfortunate. Can you describe that piece to us and how you took it from what it originally had been edited as into a winner where it actually won at the film festival?
Sure. Well, first of all, it was actually originally a film that was made for the 48-hour film festival, which is a film festival where you have to basically write, produce, shoot, film, and edit a complete 7-minute film in 48 hours. And that's how we started with it. And the producers came up with the title. It's roughly, and the story itself is kind of hard to explain. It's about these two females who are looking for boyfriends and looking for, love. And so they go to a fortune teller to find out the initials of their, Mr. Right, basically. And as you go through the movie, you see this pair of males who, at the end, after getting the date with the females, you discover that these pair of males actually paid off the fortune teller to give, these females their initials, or give, initials that they could use for picking them up, basically. So these two men basically were taking advantage of these girls and tricking them to go out on a date with them. And it was quite funny, and it's very humorous. And it was really good because you got to see the friendship between these two males, and it seemed like it was a very genuine friendship. And I think it was very typical of what male friendships could be. And I enjoyed editing it because it was very funny.
How would you describe, how you did it differently? What did you do that was so markedly different from the first edit?
Well, it wasn't funny. A lot of the parts which I thought were the funniest had been cut. In order to make a film funny, you have to understand what most people will find funny, and then you have to cater to that.
All right. So, it's interesting how this may relate to the generations that we've been talking about, because you have to have an overarching connection to generations, because, that's who watches films. And so you have to understand how, as you said, comedy relates or triggers or inspires or makes people want to laugh, for any generation. So it's interesting to me that you've, stated that you really identify with other generations, and before the show you weren't even identifying with millennials or with your current generation, but as I read the definition to you, you were going, oh yeah, wait a minute, that is really me, but I really identify with these other generations too, which may make you unique as a film editor in being able to connect from the heart with other generations so that your editing works for multi-generations.
Yes, because actually the person who edited it the first time, he actually would fall under the baby boomer generation. And so the previous editor was from a different generation also.
Okay, and so therefore possibly not as comfortable in identifying with more recent generations.
Potentially.
Okay. All right. And I have found that with myself. For instance, when I wrote my book, I was having to uncover music from all generations. And I found myself slipping away from the current generation and forcing myself to immerse in their music and really understanding how it was a voice for them. And with that, my openness and my willingness then to look at what all generations bring forward really provided a catharsis for myself internally. And I think that older generations become distant because they get stuck in the music that they love from the generation that, where they were in their 20s. And with new music that's coming out, they may not connect with that music or understand it, and therefore become even more distant from current generations. So it's interesting how music can divide or become universal for bridging gaps between generations. So my hat off to you, Shari, for being able to bridge generational differences and to really embrace what is important for each generation and bring it into the film medium. Obviously evident with winning the Gulf Coast Film and Video Festival Best Short for Unfortunate. So tell us exactly, what is video editing? You described it a little bit in what you had to do with, taking the unfortunate and doing it differently. But what's the term that everybody would understand about video editing?
Well, how I describe video editing is if you imagine a video of a wedding. It's a standard video that everybody, everybody can imagine. And, there's always some sort of speech that somebody, goes horribly wrong, the drunken uncle speech, basically. I'm the person that would cut that out, basically. Like the Alfred Hitchcock quote, drama is life with the dull bits cut out. I cut out the dull bits. That is my job. I watch video, all the video that's shot from all the different angles, from all the different scenes, and I watch each clip multiple times to determine which clip looks best visually, which clip sounds best audibly, which clip makes the most sense, where the actors gave the best performance, remembered their line, and then I figure out in which order those clips should go to make it look the best. It's like the video is a jigsaw puzzle, and all the different clips are puzzle pieces, and I put the pieces together to figure out which way the puzzle will look best.
A very interesting talent to have, to be able to do that, because you have to be very much multitasking, remembering what was over there that could maybe go over there. I mean, just the whole thought of putting a puzzle piece together, but it's different. It's like a three-dimensional, because you're having, the visual as well as the audio, as well as what could be, with maybe infusing music into it that you would select as well.
Yes.
So very much
and then the plot.
So what do you love most then about editing?
What I love most about editing, first of all, everything. And I love it because, well, it makes me focus in a way that nothing else really does. I think my record is 16 hours. I've edited for 16 hours straight with having somebody bring me, food and drink. That was probably for the 48-hour film festival, where you're on a tight deadline anyways, but 16 hours. But what I love most about it is, I mean, you can probably already tell this just by the fact that I'm an editor. You can probably guess that I'm a bit of a control freak, but the cool thing about editing is that it's manipulative. And I don't want to sound like a manipulative, mean, nasty person, but editing is manipulation, because the way that you put the video can manipulate how people think and feel about a particular character and even their understanding of the plot. If somebody gives me a video, I can make the good guy look like a bad guy, and I can make the bad guy look like a good guy if I want to. And I can make the audience cry if I need to. And I can make the audience laugh if I want them to. And, it's very much could be considered similar to marketing and advertising in that it is manipulative. It's just for entertainment purposes instead of to sell stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I like getting that rise out of people, and I like having the ability to affect people like that.
We have a special radio spot that we're going to bring up right now that really talks about controlling emotions, and that's what I hear you talking about, Shari, is the ability to control people's emotions, and through your editing, manipulating music, visual, all of that content, that you're able to control when they're going to laugh or cry or be angry or, be happy or whatever that's about. So we're going to take a break for just a minute here and listen to Music for Life's perspective about how to control emotions. And now back to Music for Life. So the Music for Life health system is really about validating where you're at, which is possibly an unsettledness, and moving musically into music that will neutralize that unsettledness, and then moving again then into music that will refresh and re-energize. And so that kind of mood sequence has become so successful, not only in the clinic, but through the workshops where I train people about how to do this themselves, accessing their own music collections by transforming them into a powerful portable command center so that they can be successful in controlling their own emotions. So we're going back to Shari Goins, who is with Editing Creations in Houston, Texas. Shari, when you look at controlling people's emotions, I know that you've had to be very sensitive to, what is kind of the community desire, for instance, with laughter, you know, what's really truly funny for a variety of generations, or truly sad for a variety of generations, and so on. And so your ability to tap into that, you know, has really created this love for what you do. But I'm just wondering, is that really your dream job, or is there something else out there on the horizon?
Well, I do love editing. I love editing. I just love editing. I love editing entertainment pieces, specifically TV shows and feature-length films. I'm finishing up a feature-length film right now called Kings Up, which I'm very excited about. My dream job would probably be to be editing a feature-length film with, you know, a major feature-length film that's directed by Quentin Tarantino or Steven Spielberg would be, editing for Spielberg or Martin Scorsese would be amazing. That would totally be a dream come true. Or, you know, Roberto Rodriguez, or one of the big, famous, really talented film artists of our time.
I accept that for you. I accept that right here and now. Absolutely. We're going to go to yet another one of your preferred pieces of music, but I'm picking a different artist first before we go to your preferred artist, because I want to do some comparisons. So we're going to listen first to Single Ladies as sung by Beyonce.
Put your hands up in the club. You just broke up. I'm doing my own little thing. You decided to dip, and now you want to trip. 'Cause another brother noticed me. I'm up on him, he up on me. Don't pay him any attention. Just cried my tears, gave 3 good years. You can't be mad at me. 'Cause if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Don't be mad what you see that he want it. If you like it, then you should have put.
So as we're listening to this, I know that V, our soundboard operator, is watching the video. The video has Beyonce dancing with 2 other women, and so you're really caught up in just the rhythm and the movement of what she's doing. So there's a visual addition to the lyric that we're listening to. So you're free absolutely to go to YouTube and look that up so that you can get a full content about that. But what I've noticed is that, Shari, when you picked this song, you didn't pick it with Beyonce singing it. Instead, you picked it with the Chipettes singing it. So now we're going to listen to the Chipettes, and then we're going to kind of dialogue about what that could be. So as we're listening to this piece of music, Shari, I'm noticing the dramatic difference in the vocal quality of the singers. And so tell us why you choose to push play on this piece of music.
Well, for those not familiar with it, the Chipettes, as you can probably guess, are the female version of Alvin and the Chipmunks. And it's not that I'm a big fan of Alvin and the Chipmunks or the Chipettes, but I mean, when high voices are funny, everybody thinks so. It's one of those things that's across all generations. You know, if somebody sucks in helium from a balloon, everybody laughs. And so I listen to this whenever I'm sad because it cracks me up. I cannot listen to that without busting up laughing.
So you've actually conditioned yourself with this song.
I suppose you could say that.
So what's interesting to me, too, then, is to look at the lyric, because they're talking about, we just broke up, you know, I'm going to do my own little thing now, which is why it's called Single Ladies. I've cried my tears, you can't be mad at me, you know, you should have put a ring on, you know, but you didn't. And so it's got interesting lyric that don't necessarily match the high upbeat music because it's talking about loss, but yet the music is happy and upbeat.
True.
And then with the added vocal quality of the chipettes, it makes it even funny as you're describing. So in terms of Music for Life for our listeners, what's best if you actually want to use music medicine in a mood sequence is to have music where the lyric matches the music. This is kind of layered differently. It's got what I would call like a vertical layering where you've got the music bed being very happy, but the lyric on top of it is talking more about loss rather than happy times. And when we use music medicine, I recommend that the lyric actually match the music. So that, for instance, if the lyric in this case is talking about loss and sad times, that it would actually be matched with sad music so that you're validating that mood and then going to something that will neutralize it and then going to something that will re-energize yourself. But what you've done here is you've kind of layered it vertically, Shari, with kind of validating with the lyric of loss or sadness as you're talking about. That's when you choose to push play on it. And then the music bed actually seeking to elevate yourself out of that misery. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So then as we shift even further into what you do as a job, tell me more about the feature film that you're editing right now.
Well, right now I am editing a feature film. It was shot locally here in Houston, Texas, and it's called Kings Up, and it's about somebody who is it's about a poker player who's trying to make it to the World Series of Poker, and then she has a big tragedy in her life, talking about loss, and she has to reevaluate her life and reprioritize.
Okay. You know, it'd be really interesting as you get more familiar with the Music for Life health system, how you could look at your editing of Kings Up and validate how people are identifying with her and, you know, what happens for her on her journey into, I'm assuming, winning?
No, actually, what happens is she decides that she doesn't want it anymore. She basically goes off and doesn't make it. She doesn't make it to the World Series of Poker because of this tragedy, but it becomes to where it's not important to her.
Interesting. Well, I will really now look forward to how you incorporate music to steer and control how people feel, you know, through the movie, knowing that she made a positive decision at the end, which was, it sounds like a twist from what people would anticipate she would be doing.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So with that, let's go to yet one more piece of music that you brought forward from Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
And we'll ask that all-important question after we've heard a little bit of it as to why you choose to push play on it. Here we go. Hannah Montana. Life's what you make it. So as we listen to this music, Shari, when do you choose to push play on Hannah Montana's Life's What You Make of It?
Well, obviously this song is very energizing, So I listen to this song whenever I am feeling tired, or whenever I'm feeling down, basically. You know, I can be, and I think a lot of times, a lot of people can be, you know, we're our own harshest critic, you know. And so there's a lyric in the song, "Give yourself a break," you know. And a lot of times, you know, people are just too hard on themselves. And it's really just a really good mood lifter.
And I would recommend this in the Music for Life health system under the energizing category for people to add to their collection today. Hannah Montana, Life's What You Make It, because the lyric absolutely matches the music in a music medicine kind of way. So thank you for bringing that one forward. I agree with you that does that. I want to talk a little bit more, Shari, about just how, you know, we condition ourselves with music, and that once we've been so conditioned with a piece of music that all we have to do is push play on it, and it immediately takes us to that mood that the music is creating for us. So, for instance, when you were talking about, you know, pushing play on the Chipettes singing Single Ladies, you know, that because of their voice quality and all that, and you've heard it a lot, that it just automatically, even though you're in a sad mood, it just lifts you right out of it and gets you into a different state. And the same thing that you were talking about with Hannah Montana's Life's What You Make It, that you've probably become so accustomed to hearing it that all you have to do is push play on it. It doesn't matter what mood you're in. That could be, you know, tired, as you suggested, that it just automatically lifts you up. So
yeah, I think that a lot of people, you know, we get so busy with our lives that we just kind of go on autopilot, and I think that people forget that we really are in charge of our own emotional states and our own emotions and moods. And this song, Life's What You Make It, really helps remind us that, no, we are in charge of our moods and we can change our attitude. And it's a call to action to do that.
And here we go again with the millennial generation statement that you're all about action.
Yes,
That's been your mantra.
Yes, even if you can't do anything about your situation other than change your mood, it is still taking action. And the feeling of doing something and being productive gives me, and I think a lot of people, a feeling of accomplishment. So when you complete one thing and take one action, even if it's small, it gives you that feeling of accomplishment and bolsters you to do more things. It energizes you to make more accomplishments.
Yes. Thank you so much for your comments. I want to take a break right now to talk about another sponsor yet of the Music for Life show. Music for Life is sponsored by the International Foundation for the Healing Arts, which is a nonprofit foundation that promotes and supports healing arts entities worldwide through programs, education services, and building public awareness that positively impacts human services. The foundation provides expertise and support that develops, nurtures, and sustains infrastructure of collaborative healing arts partnerships. To contact the foundation, simply go to this webpage at All Talk Radio. And if you like today's show, I encourage you to send a donation check to them today at the International Foundation for the Healing Arts to support the healing arts projects that foundation promotes. When you consider using Music for Life, there are so many different options for you through our community. Collaborations that you can consider are expanding your awareness about how music heals you and others, not only through this radio show and each guest each week, but to join the Music for Life community at the website musicforlife.us. You can also increase your own revenue by selling Music for Life wellness products to your customers, or if you're a musician, refer your music as possible medicine for download recommendation at Music for Life. So you can contact me if you feel you've got music that would be and has been used as music medicine that you'd want us to consider recommending to our Music for Life community. You can also access our training programs to increase employee or family wellness. You find out how you can actually convert your music collection into a powerful portable command center so that you're in control of your emotions rather than them being in control of you. You can also consider improving your business profile by uploading to your website an inspiring Music for Life audio podcast that features you, your preferred music, and your company, such as what we've been doing with Shari here today. You can also upgrade your public presentations or events with effective emotional connection using music recommended from any genre in a mood sequence for optimal healing. And then finally, to boost your social commitment, you can sponsor a Music for Life radio show syndication to help us stop the madness of people who are hurting and then may act out by injuring themselves or others. When you learn how to control your emotions, you can heal yourself and become in balance. And when you can't do it yourself, we refer you to professionals, music therapists, and others that can help you become more balanced and successful in life. So, Shari, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show today. We have been talking about how you are so able to act out Alfred Hitchcock's phrase, drama is life with the dull bits cut out, that's what you're all about with the passion that you have for editing movies, films. I urge you to check her out. Go to our website to find out how to contact Shari Goins with Editing Creations. Any other final comments you want to make before we close out today, Shari?
Yes, my website is editingcreations.com.
And there you go. That's how you can reach her directly. As we look at our shows with Music for Life, watch for iPodology dates that will be coming forth in September, where you can sharpen your skills at keeping balanced in this complex world, transforming your music assets into that powerful portable command center that can work in the dentist chair, in the airplane, on your way to work, at home trying to relax. Anyway, you learn how to harness your music differently for effective results. This is Judith Pinkerton, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you again next week. Thanks, Shari, for coming on board with us.
Ciao.
Make it a great day.
You have been listening to Music for Life with host Judith Pinkerton, a board-certified music therapist. To contact Judith before the next show, go to our website at www.musicforlife.us. It is our sincere mission to have inspired you with education featuring music for health and today's special guest to enhance your life now.